Welcome to John Jay. Thank you for coming. It is with great pleasure that I welcome to the podium Harris Morris, VP for Veterans and Military Affairs at JP Morgan Chase, our partner, our friend, and the sponsor of today's event.
All right. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thanks, Mindy, for that introduction. Real quickly, welcome everybody to the Flipping the Switch orientation event, this boot camp that we've put together with a myriad of groups to include academia, businesses, as well as students who are going through that journey right now. My name, again, is Harris Morris. I served for 22 years in the Army. I got out about 3 years ago and went straight into employment at JP Morgan. So I've been through a journey, not the same journey that everybody in this room is going through, but I can certainly appreciate the challenges that are associated with transitioning from the military into some new calling, whether that be higher education, employment, or trade school, whatever it may be. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank our partners in this event. CUNY Office of Veteran Affairs, the John Jay Corporate Veterans Roundtable, and everyone here at John Jay that came together to put this event on for us. Obviously, these things don't just happen. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes work, and so I thank all of them for their efforts as well. Most importantly, I'd like to thank all the veterans in the audience who are taking part in this event. This event is about you all. This is about your journey, where you're going, what you're trying to do next in your lives. I thank you for your service, and I ask you to use this opportunity to maybe think through some things that you haven't thought through before. We've got some great folks here that have a lot of lessons that they're going to impart, and this is a great opportunity for you to move through these things. Like I said, the challenges of actually transitioning into the next chapter of your life is an important one. And just like everything else we do in the military, we want to make sure that we do that in a way that's a mission. You're mission focused. You're trying to set a goal and do the very best you can for your own future success. So the purpose of the event here today is to bring all these experts together and to have an open dialogue and talk through the challenges that you're going to face going forward, whether you're a student currently, whether you're somebody considering going to university at either the undergraduate or graduate level, and thinking about those things that you need to do. So during our efforts today, we are definitely going to be looking at a few things that you can take away from this event today, as well as those of you who may be participating in tomorrow's activities. We'll talk through some of the strategies and lessons learned to engage and become a successful student and a member of the college community. Obviously, it's a challenge when you come out. You're coming to a new place. You may not know people. You may not have been in the rigors of academia for a while. And so all those things require our efforts to change and adjust in order to be successful. You'll understand how to access and manage your benefits. All of us come out of the military with that great post 9/11 GI Bill, and how can you best use those benefits to your advantage over time. You'll gain tips on building career plans as we go through. You'll acquire social media skills. Obviously, in this day and age, there's so much out there with respect to the social media and your ability to become important in that space. You'll be able to build your executive presence, and then also work on, just networking, identifying coaching and resources of that nature that might be available to you as you make this journey. So, again, thanks for everybody who is in attendance today. Without further delay, what I'd like to do then is go right into what really matters here, and that's our first lightning round. which will be on best practices and advice for action as you go forward into this new parts of your life. So if I could call up the members of the first lightning round. Michael Burns, he's Director, Head of ICG Diversity at Citi. Professor Marie Helen Moras, who's an Associate Professor, Department of Security, Fire, and Emergency Management here at John Jay College. Gary Tsai, who's a John Jay student currently. Benjamin Palladino, who works at J.P. Morgan Chase as part of the Military and Veterans Affairs Group. Jesse Williams, who's a John Jay alumni, vet, and emerging leader at 1-800-Flowers. Stephanie Richmond, who's the president and CEO of Stand Beside Them.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to take my seat in about 2 minutes, but I just wanted to say something. I want to thank everybody for being here today, and thank you all for your service. We're very excited to be here today. All of us understand the transition that you're about to go through. I've experienced it myself, and my fellow panelists have as well. We would like to impart some of our lessons learned, our experiences, and provide you with some advice on how to move forward. So without further ado, I would like to invite Gary to talk about his experiences.
Good morning. I know it's a rainy day and sleepy, so you can maybe want to stand up to stay awake. It's up to you. Okay, my name is Gary. I am currently a vice president for John Jay Veteran Association. I'm serving alongside with Jose Kumunada. He's a president of the John Jay Veteran Association. And I separated from the military about 2 years ago, or less than 2 years ago. Okay, 5 days, August 23rd. Okay, so after just go brief introduction about me, my journey in John Jay is that 5 days after my separation, school starts. Okay, jump straight to it. Shock. Didn't know what to expect. So what I started to realize is that nobody in the transition from military to John Jay, there wasn't any help. There was absence of, who should I talk to? So I was lucky to be able to find the right office, find the right person, and be able to enroll to classes and enroll to post-time GI Bill without any problem. But today I started seeing a lot of students coming out from military facing the same thing that I face. So in the journey of that, when I start my first semester here, I started to reach out to other veterans, maybe go into a veterans lounge, and it felt at home in a way, because right after deployment, coming to school is a big transition. So talking to them and sharing the same, even though some are Marines, some are Army, we still can talk the same. For some reason, I don't know why. They don't like Navy much. So, and it brings me, it warms me up. So I stay in school longer. Okay, didn't want to go home because I had no one to talk to at home. So stay in school longer. So I realized, hey, maybe I could be more active in the role as a student. Maybe I could help out other veterans, or maybe just volunteer, just put my name out there or something. And later that year, I ran for treasurer at the John Jay Veteran Association. Okay, got selected, able to bring the club member from 30 to 80 members, and so we started getting bigger. And at the same summer, 1-800-Flowers reached out to me and asked me for an internship on IT. Okay, I'm a computer science major myself. Didn't have any knowledge about what is IT. Okay, my occupation, my job in the Navy was technician. Aircraft ejection seat technician. So, okay, I'll give it a try. And soon I realized is that the more I'm being active, okay, it's more than just put your thing on the resume saying that you've done this, you've done that. It's more about you developing a skill. And the HR, obviously, in the 1-800-Flowers sees that I'm being not just going to school, getting an A or study for a test. I'm doing something more than just than just doing the minimum. So, and Wabi last month kind of volunteered me for this event in a way. So I'm here right now to pretty much give my journey. Ever since last summer, okay, I got a lot of internship offer. A lot of ones for some from the Department of Navy. I had to relocate, and also currently I'm interning with Professor Maris on a program called Cyber Security Alliance Workforce, which deals with cybersecurity, as you all know, all this breaching and hacking going on. And so it was great, eye-opening, okay. And just a lot of keep on developing myself in a way to bridge the gap, feel more comfortable in the outside world, because again, in the military it's totally different. Once you come out here, it's like a rebirth or reborn, as Walby just walked in, he mentioned about in his commercial in NYC Surf. And pretty much at rebirth, relearn the language and so on. So yeah, it was a great journey so far.
Jesse, would you like to?
Good morning. How are you? So, I'm Jesse Williams. I'm an alumni of John Jay. Excuse me. So I did 5.5 years active duty with the 82nd Airborne Division. I was in the National Guard here in Manhattan for a little while, first to the 69th. I was in the reconnaissance platoon. And if I have one thing to impart to you, is that, you can do this. And, you could look at me as a use case. I didn't do that well in college the first time I went. I got kicked out of 2 colleges, so I joined the Army because I wanted to run away, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. But I found myself in the Army, and when I came back to John Jay, I finished really strong. So I finished here with a 4.0. When I left John Jay, I think I had a 0.9 or around a 1 GPA when I left to join the Army. So I came back, redid all of those classes, took some new ones, decided I didn't like my major. So with 1 class to go to graduation, I changed my major to political science. Did that, graduated ahead of schedule, and thanks to some of the networking I did here, I found myself a job at 1-800 Flowers. And so, to go very much from ground combat infantryman in the Army, who wasn't very confident in myself as a student, who wasn't sure of what I was going to do when I got out, other than, the ubiquitous, I'm going to go to college and use my GI Bill. I hope to be able to give you some of my experiences so that you could take them and do some of the same things, because it is super easy to do. You just have to have the confidence to get up there and do it. And people will absolutely respond to you and appreciate you and recognize you for, what you're doing and what you're putting yourself out there for, right? So thank you for attending, and I'm looking forward to this.
Good morning. My name is Mike Burns. I have the honor and privilege of serving as the head of diversity for the Institutional Clients Group for Citibank. What the Institutional Clients Group is, it's basically all the business verticals of, I've just been told to stand. I'm good at following orders. I've just been told to stand up. So I basically run diversity for all the business verticals of Citi. So the investment bank, the private bank, corporate bank, treasury and trade markets, and all the operations and technology for Citi. But before that, and what I'm more proud of, is I'm a 13-year veteran of the United States Army. My path to the Army was very non-traditional. No one in my family had ever been in the Army. I was a baseball guy from Texas. I wanted to go to college, and I was in the JRTC, and my JRTC instructor told me, because I was coming up to New York to look at some schools in New York to play baseball, he said, hey, there's a little school off the Hudson called West Point. Never heard of West Point, and this is my junior year of high school. And I never heard of West Point, knew that there was this thing called the Army-Navy football game, but I actually thought that was the real Army playing the Navy. I didn't know there were schools associated with it. Went up there, checked it out, fell in love with West Point. Got there, and it was lack of a better term, it was a culture shock. I failed chemistry my first year. Before going there, I had never gotten anything lower than a B in a high school class. I didn't really know anybody. I wasn't familiar with the military customs and courtesies, so it was a shock. I ended up making it through. It came time to choose what I wanted to do in the Army. I planned to serve for 5 years. That was the plan. Serve for 5 years, get out, ride that West Point diploma to corporate America, and hopefully make some good money. So I said, what can I do for 5 years? Wanted to actually be a lawyer, but you couldn't do that right out of West Point. So I said, what's the next best thing? How about be a pilot? So I went to flight school, and the day that it was time to choose our helicopters in flight school, 9/11 happened. So pretty much was sure we were about to go to war. Chose the only helicopter I wanted to be in the time of war, and that was the Apache. So I was an Apache attack helicopter pilot for about 9 years with the 101st Airborne in both Afghanistan and Iraq a few times. Then it was time to come back and was about to get out the Army, got a call from West Point, and they said, do you want to come and run diversity for West Point? And here's the issue that we have. The enlisted corps is predominantly minority, and the officer corps is predominantly Caucasian. And we need to make sure the people that lead our soldiers look like our soldiers in some degree. And so I had a chance to go there and work there for three and a half years to help better that cause. And then finally got out. And when I got out, and kind of the lesson that I think everyone in this room can take, when I got out, I didn't know what I was going to do, right? You don't realize how your skill sets in the Army can transfer into corporate America. But I was confident in what I learned. I was confident in my leadership and my organizational skills. And I got on LinkedIn, and I love diversity. I put in diversity and filtered down in New York, and the first job that popped up was the head of ICG Diversity for Citi. Never been in a bank ever. I have a bank account and an ATM card. That was about as close as I got. And so I was applying for this high-level job at one of the biggest banks in the world across 100 countries, and I had no experience, and I'm coming from the military, so what do I bring to the table? And when I was growing up, my mom said, Mike, you always have to lead with your strengths. You know, everyone is going to have a shortcoming somewhere, but unless someone asks you about your shortcomings, they never have to know. So every interview I walked in with Citi, I was proud to be a veteran. I talked about the strengths that I brought to the table from being a veteran, and about 14 interviews in 4 months, they offered me the job. I've been with Citi for about 5 months now. It's been a great ride. But I would love to talk to you more about my experience in the military, how that transfers to corporate America, and then also being at West Point and running admissions there for anybody who's looking at transitioning from the military to college can also give you a point of view on that as well.
Excellent.
Good morning. Good morning. It's nice to see all of you who were hiding back there before. I'm happy to be here. My name is Benjamin Palladino. I am a Vice President of Military and Veterans Affairs at JPMorgan Chase, where I have been for the past 2.5 years. You might be wondering, why does JPMorgan Chase have an Office of Military and Veterans Affairs? It's usually a good point to start at. Well, what we do is we operate a portfolio of programs across all of our lines of business that support service members, veterans, and their families in the areas of home ownership, education, and employment. So we're not doing products and services. We're doing either training inside the firm, stuff to affect our employees and the way we hire people, or we're adjusting the way that we interact with our customers who are service members or veterans. So that's what I do. That's what Harris does. That's why we're here today. Before that, I went to Columbia. I was the executive director and treasurer of the Columbia MoVets, and I really enjoyed my time there. And before that, I was in the Marine Corps. I served 4 years as a Marine Corps infantryman with the 1st Battalion, 5th Marines. I really enjoy doing these things because I get an opportunity to connect with people who are in a place that I was in just a couple years ago, right? Before all of these things, before I joined the Marine Corps, I actually went to CUNY. I went to BMCC for a year and a half before I decided that I hated college and I wanted nothing to do with it. And that's when I joined the Marine Corps. But from there, I have had a lot of opportunities that you all have as well. You get to have a foot in the door because you're coming from a service member's background, and all you have to do is seize the opportunities through participating in events like this and networking with people who care a lot about what you do. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm glad we're going to have a chance to discuss that now. And if you have any questions outside of this, I'm happy to take them as well. Thank you.
Hi. Is it working? Okay. I'm Stephanie Richmond, CEO of Stand Beside Them. We're a nonprofit here, headquartered here in New York, that provides coaching for veterans and their spouses. And I'm going to tell you right now a little bit about what coaching is, and a valuable tool for you during transition is to have your own one-on-one personal coach, which we provide free of charge to any veteran or spouse. And we're honored to do so. We have over 105 coaches in 19 states who provide coaching by phone, or in person, or by Skype. So we want to make sure that no veteran lacks access to our service. I want to define for you what a coach is so you can understand. How many people here have had a coach at some point in their life for something? Great. Was it all sports related? Yes. Okay. So, but did you ever have your own personal coach, one just totally devoted to you and your progress? And no? Is anybody? Okay, well, you're in for a treat if you try it, I'll tell you. We define a coach as a facilitator of positive change, someone who guides another to take action to achieve a specific goal or goals. They're solution-driven. Their aim is to move forward with you, and they're non-judgmental, highly trained and experienced. They use active listening techniques and precise questioning to help their clients come to meaningful personal realizations and positive change. So it's really a relationship between a coach and a coachee, and a partnership, and you work together. So if you decide to have the coaching, don't expect that we will just hand you an answer on where to go and how to do something. You will actually learn, because the coach gets you to look at things in a new way, and that's what's so exciting. You'll come to realizations that you may not have thought of before. So it really helps you develop new perspectives. It's a dual responsibility. Sometimes a coach will ask you to do a little homework and keep you accountable, but that does keep things on track. So it's all for your benefit. And wait a second. I wanted to tell you that of the 105 coaches that we are lucky to have on our roster, 19 of them are actually veterans, and so they're very, very familiar with what transition is like. Now, I've been traveling around the country and had the pleasure of meeting a lot of veterans, and I have not met one out of the hundreds that I have spoken with who has said the transition was easy. Not one. Every single one had their own story, so I know how hard it is, and that's what our coaches are really here to do. Now, many of our youngest veterans, of which a lot of you are here, say have only known the military as your first and only job, and many have never written a resume, or if you have not learned how to translate your skills to civilian language. Another issue that comes up is interview skills. It's a new thing, or networking. So that's what having a coach can be a really wonderful tool for you. And what about the time when you may have a difficult person in your life that you don't know how to communicate with, and it's getting worse, and especially if it's a family member, you can't escape, right? So if you have a coach, they can develop with you some new communication skills that can diffuse some difficult situations. So, and many people here may not know yet what path you want to take in life. I've had several times when I could have certainly used a coach. So I just want you to know that we're here and help you if any challenges or obstacles arise during your journey. So whether you need a resume or anything, what about managing work and family and going to school? That's very hard to have all three balanced, right? Very, very hard. We all have problems with doing that. So we're here to help you with that. It's my firm belief that everybody in life could use a coach. And I'll tell you a secret, a lot of our coaches have coaches. So it's really a wonderful thing. Now, our coaching is free. We never, ever charge a veteran. and it never will, or your spouse, or the spouse, or caregiver of a veteran. So anyway, I just want to give you my advice is to just always be aware that you are never alone. So make sure you have a good support system. And it seems that you had a good support system, Mike. So, but sometimes some of us aren't as fortunate. So just remember to consider having a coach. When else in life would you have an opportunity to have somebody who is totally non-judgmental? The agenda is totally yours. Nobody else. It's all about you, and it's okay that it's all about you. And it's free, so please take advantage of this opportunity. We know that you've got the talent, you've got the integrity, loyalty, tenacity, focus, everything that's needed to get where you want to go. And you can do it without a coach, I'm sure. But I think with a coach, you'll get there more directly and a little bit faster. So we want you to know that to keep SBT, that Stand Beside Them, in mind, and we have a flyer out on the table out there. It looks like this. And you can call us anytime. You can have 1 session or 12 sessions, as many as you need to get to your specific goal or goals. And it's because it's our mission. We want to help you create the future that you deserve. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. We were given another order to wait until the podium is removed so we can have a discussion.
Okay.
And before we open up the floor to questions, I do want to say something as well about my own background. I was in the Navy for about 7 years. It was a 6-year contract, but I extended for 8 years. While I was in the Navy, I experienced 2 versions of it, pre-9/11 and post-9/11. I joined in 1997 at the age of 17. So if anyone understands your transition, I do, because the Navy was all that I knew. I joined at such a young age. I had to get my parents' permission to join. They had to sign me off. And I had 2 very different experiences. It was challenging, but it was also a privilege. And I, too, transitioned from the military to academia first. And then after leaving academia, I had to make another transition into the workforce and figure out what my next steps will be. And here I am, 11 years after leaving the service, and I'm now an associate professor at John Jay. I've completed multiple degrees, and I'm very happy to say that everything that I learned in the Navy, I've been able to apply, to use, and to give knowledge to the future generation, especially in the field of security, which I work in today. Now, my background specifically is in investigations, and I work in digital forensics, and this is how I met Gary, who's sitting next to me, who has excelled in the last few months that I have known him and has tried with every opportunity to move forward with his career. And I'm hoping that all of you do the same. We are here to serve as your mentors. In some way, we have experienced some facet of what you're going through today. So please feel free to contact us. For those of you who are coming to John Jay, we have a lot of professors who are veterans, we have a lot of students who are veterans, and we have a wonderful Veterans Affairs office that is always willing to assist you. Don't hesitate to ask for assistance. One of the things that we're used to in the military is having people tell us what we need to do, having this necessary structure. And it makes it difficult for us to be able to do things on our own. We expect somebody else to give us that information. Now we're asking you to do the exact opposite, for you to search for it, for you to request it. So please try to utilize all of the wonderful things that we're giving you here in academia and even in the workforce. Please ask for assistance. Does anyone else want to say anything before we open up the floor? No? Okay. Does anyone have any questions for us individually about your transition? They're going to bring a microphone.
Good morning. Last time I was in college was in 1996. So when I come in, is there a test I have to take to get in? Reading, math, or
Well, it depends.
just for veterans or whatever?
It depends on which courses that you've taken beforehand, and how far along were you?
Well, I had almost 2 years. I couldn't complete 2 years, but I want to go back to college.
Of course. So basically, it'll depend on which courses you've taken beforehand, but we also have assistance for anyone who needs it. So if you feel like you need an extra course to take, or tutoring, or to speak with another professor to assist you, you have that opportunity here. Gary, do you want to add something from that as your experience?
Could you help me locate my transcripts? Because I was moving all over the country. Is there a way I can get my transcripts?
Okay.
You can help me with my transcripts?
I can provide you with some information. The key is to contact the universities, because you have to get an official transcript sent from those universities, not you bringing in one official transcript, but we can definitely discuss after the panel the specifics, and you can tell me about which universities, and I can help you with the process. Great.
Thank you.
Excellent. Anyone else?
I also want to say that during the course of the day, we're going to have different sessions about academic advisement and counseling, so there'll be people on site that can also offer advice.
Hi, I got a question. You mentioned you offer tutoring. What kind, if you don't mind?
So we have different centers. For instance, for math, for science, we have writing centers that can assist you, and take advantage of these centers, because they are there to improve your writing skills, your science skills, your math skills. So if you feel that you need some assistance in any of those areas, you can definitely go to those.
Okay, follow up. What if I want to be a tutor? Could I do that?
Of course you can.
A math tutor, because I'm pretty good in it. So
Yes.
that's the reason.
Gary?
Going back to my major on computer science, but I'm terrible at math.
Well, you could come to me.
Yes, definitely. I'll come to you. I'll see you next semester. But yeah, every time I went to after class, I just tutoring. It's free, so. Any more question?
For those of you on the panel that have recently gone into higher education, what was the biggest challenge that you had coming in, and what did you do to kind of overcome that transition thing that was just the toughest for you to break?
Okay, I will speak for myself. It was writing papers. I do not like writing papers. So that's why I chose computer science rather do math question. But yes, the biggest challenge is one is finding the routine again. Okay, basically I wake up early. Okay, pick out an outfit, and then come to school. If you don't know, you find out a way to find out the answer. How will you find an answer? Not expect for what the military is tell you what to wear, what to eat, or what to do, how to do it, and when to get off. None of those apply in college. Basically, we have to find out our own routine, our own way. So that's challenging for me the first year.
At West Point, we also have a program that we bring in veterans, so veterans can transition from active or reserve duty to become full-time college students. Excuse me. And probably one of the biggest issues they have outside of what was just stated, which I think is a great point, is that when you're serving in the Army, you have an MOS, and it's a job, and you do it day in and day out, and you know it like the back of your hand. But when you get to academia, you're forced to do stuff that you might not be comfortable with. You're forced to take classes that you might not know and subjects that might be foreign to you. So a lot of times the veterans would have an issue. Obviously, it's not insurmountable. They obviously overcome it, of being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And I think that coaching and mentorship and tutoring and all that stuff are good avenues to get comfortable being uncomfortable, but that was one of the issues I saw with the transition.
I was wondering, what did you guys use to choose your majors when you went to school? Because I know a lot of guys that I work with. I'm still active duty now, so I'm trying to go to school online if my land tour lasts long enough. But a lot of the guys I'm talking with that are going back to school online, they're not sure if they should tailor their major to their skill set from the Coast Guard or if they should branch out and do something totally different.
Interesting. The advice that I always give my students is, where do you see yourself after you retire from the military? And I would recommend pursuing an education in that field. I personally chose criminology and criminal justice because I was an investigator in the military, but also because I had a computer science background and psychology, and I wanted to find a way to merge all of the previous undergraduate courses that I had taken. And I knew that I was going to be a professor, so I wanted to pursue my PhD. But for those of you who are uncertain, that's the question that I would ask. I would ask, what do you see yourself doing when you leave the military, either retirement or finishing your current tour?
Sure. Hello? Oh, it works. Okay, sorry. And try to remember, when you were at your happiest, what you were doing that gave you the most fulfillment, and then try to tailor a job or a career or a goal along with that. That's what coaches get out of you. They ask you these kind of questions so you can figure it out.
I would also add, this is something that I found a lot of veterans are concerned about, right? What do I study, and then do I study something I'm passionate about and not worry about the career side of it, or do I study something that I have the job skills for because I know there's a strong career market after it? So on the one hand, some of you might have highly technical job skills that make you a good candidate for a certain career, and if you love it, you should pursue that. On the other hand, your degree is not a box that you're trapped inside of. You can have a degree in anything and work at any company, so long as you're a good fit for the role and the team that you're joining. I have a degree in philosophy. I don't do philosophy at JP Chase. That's just what I studied in college that allowed me to have the ability to connect with people and get the job done, but it didn't put me into some sort of box that I had to stay in. I mean, you can think of every Fortune 500 company that's out there has some role that every job you could get a degree for here, you could work in. So take JP Chase, for example, because I know about that, but this is applicable to a lot of other ones. There are 250,000 employees at JP Chase, so it's larger than the Marine Corps. We're in 160 countries, so if you have language skills, that could be enough to open the door somewhere. And we have everything from the bankers that you think of, to airline pilots, to developers. I mean, all of these jobs exist. We have 19,000 developers that work at JP Chase. It's almost as big as Google's team. So it is something to be concerned about. But there's two sides to that coin, and it shouldn't be something that you're concerned about getting boxed into.
And also, your employers are looking primarily for essential skills, which those of you who are in the military already have. Teamwork, leadership, commitment. Those are the things that your employers are looking for, because the information you can be taught, but the skills are very difficult, and you already have them. And this is something that we hope that you take away from this panel as well. We want you to be able to highlight those skills, because that's what makes you employable. All of the wonderful things that you learned in the military. And your coaches will serve as a guide to help you be able to not only describe these skills, but also be able to put them in a resume that you will give, right?
One other point. I think we have to be very careful, especially as veterans, not to migrate to things we feel comfortable with when we get to academia. I truly believe that employers definitely look at the soft skills that we bring as veterans to the table, but the more dynamic we can be as individuals, the more marketable we are. So I'm telling you this because I don't want you to shy away from the tough subjects. They don't necessarily have to be your majors, but I watch a lot of veterans shy away from the finance skills and classes, shy away from the computer science classes, because they don't know those or they don't feel comfortable with them. It's okay to fail, right? It's okay not to do great in a course if it will make you in the long run a more dynamic individual and a more diverse individual. So major in what you're passionate about, what you're comfortable with, what you can see as your future, but also while you're in school, also take the things you're not as comfortable with and that you might struggle through, because in the long run, when you do step out into the job world, maybe you thought you wanted to do what your major was, but when you get out there, maybe the opportunities don't exist, or you want to do something different, and the more dynamic and diverse you are, the more opportunities that will be available to you.
Does anyone else have anything to add on the panel?
Well, I'll also tell you, since we're still on the subject, take the opportunity to take a wide breadth of classes as you can, because you'll find something that you'll love. Miss Everett, I'm sorry that I'm about to say this, but I broke the rules of John Jay. As far as the GI Bill goes, I took a class that was outside of my major, and the GI Bill covered it. But it ended up changing the whole arc of my academic career, because I fell in love with political science, and I changed my major before the end of that class. And even though it took me an extra year to graduate because I had to go back and do all the foundational courses for political science, it set me up for exactly what I do right now. It taught me how to, the skills that I needed to go out and connect with certain people and question things and, dissect the problems and bring solutions and new opinions to the table, which is what got my foot in the door at 1-800-Flowers. So I would just say, do as much as you can, take as many classes as possible, and find that one thing that really resonates with you, because once you do, it will propel you to continue to not only dig at that, but it will help you, find what your life's work truly is.
And you'll know that you found something that you love to do when you read something and you want to read more of it, and you don't consider it a chore, and you sit and you research things outside of your required readings for class. So pay attention to those classes, because once you find that class, that's the profession that you should pursue. And I do want to close with something. Don't forget your core values from your military career. Make sure that you apply these in academia. Be committed to positive change, and be committed to constant improvement, because this was what was expected of you in the military, and we also expect the same thing in academia. And don't be afraid to ask for assistance. We are here to help you. Don't wait until it's too late. Ask us immediately if you need something. We're here to help you. All of your professors are here to help you. All of the staff is here to help you. Please remember that in your academic journey. Thank you so much for coming. One more?
Some of us come home with disabilities. So do the college work with from sitting to different, like people that's blind?
Yes, we have an entire office that's dedicated to disability services as well, and we have a Veterans Affairs office that also tailors to the specific needs of our veterans.
Yes, for disability, we actually provide a note taker for you, and also even not, for example, need more additional time for tests, you also get that as well. And it's a lot of benefit. And if you can prove that number is not your thing, disability office can waive your math courses. I was told by the office, I was like, wow, I could have done that. Find out one way or another, but yeah, you have to help.
Hi, I got a quick question. I'm going to be majoring in security, is it analysis or something like that? And my question is, do you guys help in internships, stuff like that?
Yes, so you're in the security management program, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so we have an internship that we have, a course called Security 378, which offers security internships. We also work with various private security firms, but we also provide opportunities that are applicable to our discipline that are outside the classic security field. So depending on what interests you, we assist you in finding a proper internship. My department, and also we have an office for career development as well, career and professional development here at John Jay College.
Okay, what department do you belong to?
Security, fire, and emergency management.
And other CUNY schools have the same thing. So if you're pursuing an interest in another CUNY school or another school, another college or university in the New York metropolitan area, they all have those types of programs. Check them out.
Yes, each school has an Office of Career and Professional Development that has a database for internships that students can access and apply for.
And in fact, later on during the course of the day, there will be a session on career planning that will focus on internships and experiential learning.
I would also like to thank everybody at the panel today for providing such wonderful insights to our veterans who are in transition. Thank you so much for coming.